What's up, my fellow animals out there? Okay, so back in January, there was this little movie that came out. And by little, I mean a $175 million blockbuster reboot of Dolittle. I mean, was there really that much passion for a Dolittle reboot? Was the Dolittle fan base just like, please, give me another Dolittle movie? But whether people actually wanted another Dolittle movie, apparently people did. People wanted another Dolittle movie. And so they rebooted Dolittle from the Eddie Murphy versions, which were also pretty bad. Except for Dr. Dolittle 2. Now that movie slaps. Don't at me. Watch it. Don't judge me until you've seen it. Dr. Dolittle. That's what they should have called. See, I just came up with a great title right now because I've ruined the take, but I'm just gonna keep on talking about Dr. Dolittle. Dr. Dolittle. But seriously, if you're gonna watch a Dolittle movie, like, you should watch Dr. Dolittle 2. It is the best one. But anyways, the Robert Downey Jr. Dolittle did come out, and let's just say it performed to great reviews. Literally everybody loved this movie, and it was just beloved. And it was a massive box office hit for Universal, and the rumor is that it'll even win Best Picture. Wait, hold on. Huh? Wait, you're saying people hated the movie? People weren't very positive on it? It's a little animal point for you there. Wait, people hated the movie? It was a box office failure? Wait, it's not going to get nominated for Best Picture? Oh, that's going to Playing with Fire? Yeah, that is a pretty great movie. And, I watched the movie, and, I didn't love it, but I didn't really hate it either. It's like a perfectly average family film. But there was one scene that was so bad and so poorly written that I felt like I have to make an entire video on it to explain how bad it is. Now, don't get me wrong, the scene is terrible, but I think examination of the film and seeing where it went wrong can actually be a really good lesson to future writers. So without a further ado, or a further ado little, we have jokes here on this channel. But seriously, without further ado, I'm going to give my opinion on how this movie uses comedy to ruin character and plot.
We've no choice but to embark on this perilous journey.
Okay, so right before we talk about the terrible, horrible, absolutely disgusting scene that inspired this video, first we have to talk about the plot of this movie. So here's the plot. So a few years ago, Dolittle was married to an explorer, and one day she went on an adventure without him, and she crashed and passed away, which sends Dolittle into isolation. Now, when the Queen of the Kingdom gets sick, Dolittle must venture off with his animals and find a secret magical fruit that can heal the Queen. And after many adventures, they will finally make it to this cave, which is where the fruit lies. But then, out of nowhere, a dragon that guards the fruit jumps out and attacks them. Okay, now let's finally get to the scene that may have scarred me for the rest of my life. So basically in the finale of the film, this dragon is attacking them, and then the dragon starts to feel a little sick, and then they realize that the dragon has some blockage in the... And then they decide to remove the... You know what? I'm just going to show you the scene because I want you to be scarred. That's why I'm going to show it. I want you to be scarred.
Emblem of Wales. Very useful it is, too. You might feel a bit of pressure. I got her. Oh, good heavens!
Oh, no, you didn't.
Is that armor? You got the old Spanish army in you. Gives a deep breath. Hold it. When removing the blockage. You'll see now. There may be an initial release of wind.
I can taste it.
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? Oh my God!
This is a big cheat. Get behind me.
I'm with you, Doc. On your call.
Oh, it's Christian. One last push, madam, if you please.
So, the big finale of this film is Dolittle pulling bagpipes out of a dragon's butt. Okay, so while I was setting up this set, I had this puffer fish. It hurts your hand. You know, it's pretty prickly. And when I was moving this whiteboard, the whiteboard fell and it knocked over this puffer fish and it landed right on my foot. And you're probably like, Carter, why are you telling me this? That's because this spiky puffer because this spiky pufferfish falling on my foot actually hurt less than watching this scene. Okay, well let me explain to you how this scene ruins character. So you want to hear what's even stranger about that scene I just showed you? And I know you're probably like, trust me, nothing could make that stranger. No, but the scene before that is actually like the most emotional part of the film. So I mentioned that Dolittle tragically lost his wife, and that's sort of the arc of the film, is him trying to learn to let go of her. And right before that blockage scene, he gives this monologue, which is surprisingly good, like probably the best dialogue of the entire movie. It actually makes the movie feel like it wasn't written by 5-year-olds, which is a pretty good achievement because it was.
Oh, you know nothing of my pain.
But I do. I felt it as well. The kind that doesn't come from a bullet or a blade, but cuts much deeper. And now in every moment, in every movement, you feel that pain again. It's hard to carry on when you've lost the one you love.
Now, I genuinely think this is a good character moment for Dolittle, and I actually think it brings a satisfying end to his arc. The way he connects with the dragon over losing someone, and the way he talks about how it's hard to keep going, and the way right before he dies he goes to kiss his wife's ring, that's good stuff. I think that's good stuff. So yeah, Dolittle does actually have a good character moment. Until they ruined it. So like right after this heartfelt speech, they immediately go into fart jokes, and Dolittle's like, we must embark on this perilous journey to help this dragon with his blockage problems. Instead of focusing on a really good character moment for Dolittle, they move right into fart jokes. And the fart joke lasts like 3 times the amount that the character moment lasts. So it really shows where their priorities are at. Because when you're watching this,
The kind that doesn't come from a bullet or a blade, but cuts much deeper. And now in every moment, every movement, you feel that pain again.
and then you watch this, it's kind of hard to focus on Robert Downey Jr. when they literally leave no time to breathe. It's just like, we can't keep the attention of kids for more than 5 seconds without a fart joke, go! Okay, to illustrate my point, let's take a look back at Robert Downey Jr.'s last film, Avengers Endgame. Oh, yeah, spoilers if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame. But let's be honest, I know you've seen Avengers Endgame. And in Avengers Endgame, there's a really great character moment for Robert Downey Jr., who also plays Dolittle. So let's roll that clip.
I am inevitable. And I am Iron Man.
And then after that scene, they have this long, drawn-out thing where each character talks to him, and it's really, really emotional. But now imagine the scene a little differently.
I am inevitable. Iron Man.
So what I'm trying to say is that character moments can be ruined by comedy, because when you cut them short just to make a joke, it just takes away from everything else going on. Anyways, let's move on to part 2, how comedy can ruin plot. So like I said before, the plot is they're trying to get this magical fruit to save the dying queen. This dragon who guards the fruit attacks them, and the dragon will only give you the fruit if you're worthy. Dolittle has to prove he's worthy to get the fruit. That works as a plot. But what doesn't work as a plot is Dolittle proving he's worthy by pulling a bagpipe out of the dragon's butt. That doesn't work. That is so dumb. The writers were so focused on comedy that they ruined the plot, because the plot no longer worked. You can't say that's why Dolittle is worthy. You can't even buy that as an audience member because it's so dumb. So in the writers being so focused on comedy, they ruined the plot. And like, imagine, this dragon has been here for thousands of years, and it kills anyone who's not worthy. And then Dolittle comes and pulls a bagpipe out of the dragon's butt, and the dragon's like, nobody else is worthy who's come here, except for Dolittle is. The sad thing is, you can see the writers actually had good groundwork for how to make the scene work. But instead of actually focusing on good writing, they were more concerned with making 2-year-olds giggle, so they went the path of comedy. And what they chose to do with the scene ruins the plot, because it's so dumb you can't take it seriously anymore. What if, like, instead the animals just, like, all came together to, like, work together to heal a scar on the dragon? I mean, that would have at least been a cool moment. I mean, they could have literally done anything else than what they did, and it would have been better. This movie... Man, this movie had 5 writers. 5. I can't even imagine what the writing for this movie was like. I wonder how we can make Dolittle prove he's worthy. Yeah, huh. Oh, I got it! Let's make him pull a bagpipe out of the dragon's butt! Write that down right now. In conclusion, was it worth spending hours of my life in depth analyzing Dolittle? So I think the writing lesson you can take away from this is, when you're having an important moment, either character or plot, don't overload the scene with comedy because it'll lose its seriousness. Instead, let it play out and let the audience actually feel the moment before cutting to comedy. Now, I'm not saying you can't have comedy in a serious moment, but as a writer, I think you should find the balance. And you don't want to be like the Dolittle writers who put a 5-minute fart joke in the most important part of the movie. Okay, so this has been interesting. After watching this bad film, I feel like I need to go watch something good, so I'm gonna go watch Playing with Fire. See ya!